Hey guys, welcome to the stream. It's day 37 of our devlog. Today we are going to have a look at our save slots. Last night we kind of dealt with the footsteps and their effects, and those are kind of working now, which has been confirmed by my colleague. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the main menu. There are still a few things that we need to do. So with that in mind, let's begin. I am also waiting for an update and possibly some new assets which should start adding some more content. So with that in mind, today's stream is hopefully a bit of tidying up as well as creating slots. Now we are going to have to work with what we had before, which was an asset. Now we're gradually phasing that asset out piece by piece, but we are going to use little parts of it. Okay, and I'll show you the part we're going to use. So if I press play, we are going to be clicking on new game, and that is going to show us some slots. Okay, now at the moment this is actually coded to take us straight into the game, but we're going to change that. But anyway, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a way of showing slots, creating a new slot, deleting slots, etc, etc. Okay, so we already have I believe in our main game we have saved, and we have save data options, and we have GL save slots. Okay, and we have a struct save slot. Okay, so we're going to quit that for now. We are going to go back here. Okay, and need to get my brain in gear here. We're going to be looking at this thing here, TP sat. Okay, and in here got dialogue options, loading screen, HUD. So it's not any of them, but it is probably going to be in here, probably. Except it's not. We do have this, a slots container. Okay, now we're going to create something similar. Okay, but we're obviously going to do it with our actual main menu, which is this one here. Okay. So you can see here that we've kind of copied it, and we've got our slots container, so that's all there. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is go to this button and basically find out what it does. So it's initialize new game. Okay, so this is it here. Okay. So we're going to leave these functions etc. as they are, and we shall just basically refactor them to do what we want. Okay, so we're going to do a back, and this is loading the information. Now in the asset you could only save 3, so we're not going to do that. We're going to do something different. So we're going to do that. Remove this pin. Actually, we need to stop it first. Right. And we're going to have to go back and check in our saved game what we have. Okay, so it's actually, I was in the right place. I just need to look at this, and we're going to close that. Right, so does save game exist? So we've got that. And we're not doing anything with, right, so we've got load save slots, right? So it's doing it here. Okay. Right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to, well, this is obviously checking to see if we've got save slots, right? And then the next thing we're going to need to do is actually do something with that, right? Now, it's going to make an awful lot of sense if I add a variable, and I call it ref main menu, and then I can call stuff in the menu from here. And it's going to be that. Okay. And then in our event graph, we're going to set it here. Going to remove that. Then this is going to go in here. Okay. Save that. Okay. So now, if we need to, we can call stuff from the main menu from our thing here. Okay. So this doesn't actually load the slot information beforehand, I don't think. So let's have a look at that. Right now, I believe if we look at this, right, if we click new game, right, it says initialize new game, and then it loads the information here, right? Now we can still do that, or we could do it at load, right? So I'll tell you what, we'll just leave it as it is. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to say controller we're going to say get ref save slots, and I think it's slots. Right, and then we're basically going to say for each, and we probably want to do this in reverse, right, because you want the newest save slot first. Okay, so if we break this, we get the slot name is current game and the level name. The level name isn't important at this particular point in time. Now, this is where we can start doing stuff. Right, so save slot 1 is a string. Right, and this is doing these. See, the problem is this is actually a button, right? So that's not good for us. Well, it's good for us because we're going to create that button, right? So what I want to do is I want to minimize this down, and you can see this slots container, right? This is the slots container, and this is what we're going to be working with. Okay, so I'm guessing that's not even going to be a variable, so I'm going to change that to a variable. Okay, and we've got a uniform grid, which is fine, then a border, and then we've got this button. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to create a widget, right? I'm going to call it slot. Actually, I'm going to call it save slot. Okay, we're going to open it up, we're going to delete that, and we're going to paste that. Okay, we're going to compile that, and I'm going to check actually. Okay, right, so basically we're going to go to here, and we actually need to save this part, right? So we'll copy this part, we'll go back to our save slot, right? We're going to delete that, and we're going to paste that. Okay, and that gives us a background as well. Okay, all good. Now they did it in a way with, as you can see, we've got that image background, blah blah blah, empty slot, and save game data, right? Where they basically put the date and time in and stuff like that. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something slightly different. Okay. Now, actually, you know what? We don't actually need to do it. Well, we can use this, right? We can use this for both the new one and, I say, loading, right? So, if you're creating a new save, you don't actually need to show the other slots, right? So that is a little bit of a misnomer for what we're doing here. Okay? So in theory, we're going to leave this as it is. Right? But we're going to add a little bit of code here, just to get us started. Right? Because we kind of do want this. But what we don't want is the three of these shown. We just want a new slot. Right? So choose slot isn't relative either. Right, this should really be new game. Okay. So this is going to be like create new game. Okay. And we're not actually going to use these. Right? So you can see that this is slot 3. Right? And that's the back button. And then we can see that this is slot 2. Okay. And now this code isn't... I suppose we... Yeah. Whatever. So this would basically be enter name. Okay, we might remove these things as well. Okay. And we're probably going to change this as well. So yeah, there's that. And we're probably going to have to fix all this. Right. So we'll do that. We'll do that. Right, so we'll see how that works for us. We might use this code, we might not. Okay, so let's see if that is working and what we can do about it, or if we want to change it in some manner. Right, so that ain't doing anything anymore. Okay, that is standard macros. And I believe that was from Load slot information. Ah, right, okay. So is that not... You would think that would just be empty. Ah, it's not empty until you hit the new game. Ah, we've not got a controller. So I've set up the controller, but I haven't set it in the main menu. Okay, whatever. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, controller. Okay. Cast to PC. Okay. And this is going to go right at the start. I can go under there. Except it can't. Okay. And plug that in there. I don't know why they did it this way, that they're all scrunched up together. There's really not an awful lot of reason for that. So I think what I'll do is unscrunch them. Right, so that we give ourselves a bit more space and we can see what we're doing. Okay, save that. Now we shouldn't get an error. Okay, so this is something, that's something, that's nothing. It's going to be nothing, right? But that's okay. So we want to now check. I'm going to dismiss that. What's that? Error. Yeah, okay, whatever. Highlight selected. I'm guessing this is going to be... Yeah. Right, we don't need to really do anything with that. We can actually dismiss this. Kinda. But it was failing here. Right, so we're going to add the breakpoint, right? But our button slot 1 is the one we're interested in. Because this is just our new slot. Okay. Right, and basically these can go. Okay. Right, and this is something we're not using anymore. We're not using this game instance, so we're going to have to change that. And we're going to have to write to our own save slots. Okay. We can kind of use this though. So what I'm going to do is we're going to press play. I believe there's still some references to button 1 and button 2 in here, which is obviously bad. Right, that's fine. We're going to use that in a minute. Okay. So this is where it's basically failing. Right, we can resume that. Okay, so we're going to have to disable that. Okay. So when we click on it, it dies on us, which is fine. We're going to go designer. Hi, Ole Abaduri. Probably butchered your name, sorry about that. Right. So we've got this save slot, and it's doing save slot 1. Right, now we're not going to do that. Okay, so we're going to click on this and we're going to find out what's going on, and we'll take out, hi bro. So we're going to basically gradually fix this. So okay, current slot, slot 1. New game, true. Does save game exist? Right, so does that exist? False. So it starts new game. Okay. So we don't really want it to do this. Well, we do, but we want it to do a couple of things first. Right, we don't want it to do this, or any of that stuff, basically. Right. Okay. Now, the interesting thing there is the way they do it is by clicking on the button. Okay, we're going to have to change that. Right? We're going to have to change that. So, what we're going to do is we've got the back here, and we're going to wrap it with a horizontal box. Okay. And then we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to move this one there. And we're going to change this to create. Okay. And then we're going to change this to create. Okay. Then we're going to do fill, and we're going to say 50, and then this one we're going to say fill, and we're going to say 50. Okay. And we're going to add padding 5 and 5, and we're going to add that to both of them. Let's say 5 and 5. Now, right, so that's not so clever. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a primitive, and it's going to be a spacer, and it's going to go there. Right? And that spacer is going to be set to fill, and we're going to make it 30. Okay, now the problem here is this border, right? We're going to copy that, and we're going to do that. Okay, and we're just going to set it to transparent, and it's our actual buttons that are going to have that okay. Apparently our button doesn't want huh. Not 100% sure why this isn't working. Okay. Well, the easier way we could do this is we could wrap this in a border, right? And then we can wrap this in a border. And that works for me. Okay. So if we go back to here, we can just basically remove these. Okay. So what we want to do here is allow them to type in there, and it is a text block, so that's okay, right? So we're going to dismiss that for now. We're going to press play and find out what. Right, so that's good. Okay. So that's going to say, does the game exist? No, then it's going to start a new game. Okay. So what we wanted to do is something a bit different. Okay. So the way we're going to do it is we are going to have a variable, and we're going to call it slot name. And that's going to be a name. Okay. And this saves slots for later. So when they hit this button, we get the button right, and I believe the current slot is not going to be that, right? It's going to be the text of the slot, okay, which is going to be this thing here, right? So yeah, we want to delete that, we want to delete that, right? And we'll say text new slot name. And the button itself is going to get changed to, basically we're not pressing the button, right? We'll eventually change this, but this code here is actually going to be done with our create button, which is this one, right? Okay. So on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to get our text, this, in fact, wait a minute, wait a little minute here. This text here, okay, that's fine, whatever, right? We are going to have to do it with this, but that's fine. Text so it's going to be get text, okay. And it's this that's going to go in here, okay. Now this is going to take a little while to get all sorted out because we're obviously redoing this in a completely different way, but it's cool. And we're going to remove that, then okay, where was I? Wasn't there. Wasn't there. Kinda wasn't there either. Right. So it was on this button. Right. Where I managed to screw it all up. I'm going to blame my mouse for being... My mouse is very sticky. For some reason. Right, we'll save that for now. Okay. So I'm going to have a 2-minute break. If you're enjoying the content, hit like and subscribe, always helps. Check out the description of the video, and there's a link to the Discord server for Groenland, the game. There's also one to my personal Discord, and also a link to Patreon and my previous game on Steam. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we're back. I've heated up my coffee. And we're ready to go at it again. Okay, so with that in mind, just having a little check on things here. Right, so we're now passing in our save slot, right? So what we can do is just check this at this point. So we're going to dismiss this for now. We're going to press play. We click on this and we can enter a name. Okay, apparently we can't. And that's because that is a button now. Okay, so we don't really want that as a button. We just want it as a plain old text with a border. Okay. So this is our button. This is the border. And that's obviously the wrong one. So what we want to do is take that out of the button. Right. Right. And we want to delete this. It's not going to like it. But now this should be savable, changeable. Okay, so we'll see what the problems are now, and then we'll fix them. And that's still not editable. And the question might be, is this even that even editable? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. That's going to go. Right. And that'll do. Editable text. Do we even need that overlay now be honest. I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to redo this because everything's just needs to go. Right. Ah yeah, we've deleted that, haven't we? Right, so we need to rename this. TXT slot name. Okay. Still doesn't like that for some reason. That's a get text. That goes in there. Right. So now we can get back to it. Thank you very much. And we'll just align them left. Okay. These can go. We'll leave them just in case we need them for something. Save that. Okay. That can go. So now we should be able to type in this text box. Which we can. But it would appear we need these. Okay. And enter name. Our font is going to be that. It's going to be, let's see, we'll try 18, see how that goes. Our background color Tell you what, we'll test it. We'll test it and see how it looks. Yeah, it is black. And it is too small. So that's going to be 1, 1, 1. Okay. Text slot name. And yeah, this text slot name, we don't want this. Okay. So we just want that to be transparent, and this can have a 25-25. And a 10-10. Okay, now we've got that. We can set this font to be a bit bigger. Okay. Right. So that's fine. Go here. We can now change this. Right, so if we go to new game 1 and we say create, right, it's going to come to here and it's new game. Okay. So that's all good. We're not going to do this, right? But what we're going to do first of all is we're going to get our controller in fact, I'm going to write a function does slot already exist? Okay, we dismiss that and that. Then we're going to have an output exists. In case my fingers were in the wrong place. That's going to be a bool. Right. So now we're going to get a controller. We're actually going to pass in the game. We'll call it slot name. That's going to be a name. Okay. Ref save slots. Then slots. Okay. Then for each loop, it's actually going to be for each we break. We're going to add a local variable. We're going to call it temp exists. Tile that. Right, and we're going to remove that, and we're going to say for each loop with break. Okay, I'm going to move this down here. Then this is going to go in here. I'm going to break that. And we're going to say equals. And we're going to say case insensitive. And we're going to check it against our slot name that we passed in. Then we shall branch. Do that. And then if it's true, we're going to set this to true. Then we're going to break. Okay. And that will go here. Okay. We'll drag that over a bit, and then we'll add a reroute node. Okay, and that allows us just to do that. Right, and that keeps it all nice and tidy. Okay. So, instead of doing this, we are going to keep that in mind though. We are going to keep an eye on that one. Does slot already exist? Okay. Okay, whatever. It's converted it again. Okay. It's menu, don't care. As long as it works. We're not going for super optimization on the menu. Right. I'm gonna get a drink of my coffee here. Hi there, new Nachtel Pizza. How you doing? Right, so we're checking if it already exists, right? Then we're branching. We are making a Viking survival horror. It's not a survival horror, right? It's a survival game with elements of horror. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't call it a horror. I would call it a thriller. That's how I would describe it. It's not really a horror game per se. So anyway, what we're doing here is, if it exists, we're going to have to bump it back. And if it doesn't exist, we are going to create do you want to see some stuff? Right, I'll stop this for a second, I'll let you see something. Right, now this isn't representative of the world. This is like my play map, so that I can run around and test the mechanics, okay? So this is like your character. There's wildlife, you can shoot wildlife. Right, there's NPCs that have got jobs and they wander about and do their jobs and go to bed and stuff like that. Right, you can interact with stuff. And that changes the temperature. You'll notice the temperature gauge is now going up. And if I move away a bit, it will start going down again. Right. You can pick up food and stuff. So you can pick that stuff up. Open doors, run around. Now, you'll notice I've picked everything up and lit them, okay? But I can also, for testing purposes, I can save that. Okay. Now, what I can do is, you can see that you make footsteps in the snow. You can climb up ladders. It's Greenland's part of the story, right? That's as much as I can say. But it's about surviving in a very harsh environment, which is Greenland, right? So for basic mechanics, you can actually get out your bow and arrow and shoot at things. And if I can actually hit something, Now the question is, have I changed all the keys and stuff? Yeah, I did shoot it. Right, so once you shoot something, you can come up here and you can skin it. Okay, and on the left you've got all the, you know, your food, your health, tells you you've picked something up, so you can go to your inventory, you'll notice all that's there, await, then you can click on that and it will show you what you've got, all that good stuff. If I use that, you'll see that my beat meter's going up, right? And then if I stop it and then press play again, you'll notice that everything's back the way it was. Fires are lit. This is just a test map, right? This is just for me to test mechanics like the shooting, the inventories, saving the game, fires, climbing, the displacement of snow. This isn't an actual, this isn't representative of the map, right? That's what I'll say. I can show you the first, right, let me show you the very first part. Hopefully it'll load okay and won't give me a million problems. I'll show you what the first part of the first map looks like. Okay, yeah, it's going to do some shaders. No, I've got a modeler plus we're using some assets and then basically amending them to our needs, shall we say. I can do a little bit of modelling, but it takes me forever to do anything worth even, you know, not good at it, put it that way. I am not a natural artist. Basically, there's if you look in the description, there's a link to the Discord server for the game, which has got a lot more. It's got a synopsis and a lot more screenshots and stuff of like Watnan. He's the modeler. He's doing the modelling and the design. So I think I've just crashed my game. Or maybe not. But it seems to be... Yeah, it's doing something. This maybe wasn't such a great idea. Oh, it's working. It's probably going to murder my stream. Ah, there we go. Right, so you can see there, it's still loading shaders. Right, so we've got a much richer world. Oh, I've never seen that before, the Aurora Borealis and stuff. Pretty cool. Right, my colleague is obviously playing with some stuff. With characters, etc. But there's a cut screen at the start here, which if I actually do something here, it's going to activate and it's going to load up more shaders and stuff in dev mode. Wow. Why is the time going so fast? I'm guessing the time is set up to go really fast. Yeah, look at that, it's just madness. Time speed 8, what? I think this should be set at 0.2. We'll press play again and see what happens. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, there's going to be wildlife, and there's going to be wildlife that can kill you. Like, obviously, polar bears would be a good start. Possibly Siberian tigers. Yeah, you could have a Siberian tiger. And there are, I don't want to say too much, but there's infected, right? There's infected zombie type things. Don't want to call them zombies because obviously it's been done to death, right? But there's infected as well, right? But they don't. The game is not about first person combat, right? The combat will be like firing bows and arrows at animals to get food to survive, right? But there will be enemies in the game that you can shoot with your bow and arrow as well to take them out, right? Obviously we're getting a very jerky stream because it's loading in lots of stuff at the moment, but obviously this, if you leave it to do the shaders, it all becomes very smooth. Right, and this is taking you up to basically the first village. Okay. So obviously she reacts to the weather, depending on the weather. Like she'll put her arm up to, you know, block the snow and stuff like that. No worries, pizza. Hope to see you again at some point. So yeah, this is the first part of the game, really. The very first thing you come up to. That's new. I've never seen this before. My designer has obviously been hiding things from me. The shaders are making this a bit of a pain in the neck. I believe I'm going to have to do some stuff with that material. But yeah, this is all world composition, which isn't my forte. And I need to ask my designer what's about the blood coming through the ceiling. But anyway, not going to be too harsh on him. Although I'm going to probably have to change that material because it looks a bit fake. Well, it looks really fake actually. Right, so anyway, back to our menu where we're doing the boring stuff. But it's the boring stuff that I'm afraid needs done. And we're coming back here. So what we're saying is, does the slot already exist? Right? Basically, have we got a save game with the same name? And if we have, we basically create a new one. Okay. So we're going to add another function. And actually, I'm going to put this in a category. I'm going to call it save slot. Right? And I'm going to add, and this one is going to go in save slot. Right? So we're going to create the slot. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our, we're going to do an input. Okay. So we're going to get slot name, going to pass it in, then we're going to do controller, get controller, ref, save slots. Slots. Right? And then we're going to add unique. Okay. And we're going to create it here. So we're going to make a save slot. Okay. Our slot name is going to go in there. And we're going to set the current game to yes. Okay. Because if you've just created a new game, that's obviously the game you want is the current game. Okay. That's the logic behind that. Makes sense. We're not going to put a level name for now. I don't know if I'm even going to use that, so that may actually go. Right. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to save this. Right. So we're going to save game, save game to slot, right? We're going to get our controller again. We're going to get that. We're going to set, no, in fact that's okay. That's going to go there. And this is called GL underscore save slots. And then we've got one final thing to do here. We've got to get our controller again. And we've got to set the current game slot. So we can do that here. And there we go. Do a little bit tidying up there. Right. So that's that part done. Okay, now I believe in our game instance in our game instance I don't have a current slot, right? But we are going to have to set that. Okay. Instance. Then we're going to go variable. And we're going to say current slot name. And we'll do that as a name. We'll save that. Okay. So that's fine. And I think I'm going to call it there for this afternoon. I'm going to do some of this offline. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for links to Discords of both this game and my personal one, and also Patreon and my previous game on Steam. So thank you guys for watching and for all the comments.